pinch me, poke me, kick me, heck, punch me. And please wake me up from this nightmare to a new dawn of a new day where our 5-star Bartlesville, Oklahoma native doesn't decide randomly one day that he wants to go be a purple people eating flippin' frackin' power cat. Are you kidding me right now?
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you very much for stopping by to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms, as well as visually on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at AllDayoState. As you can hear, this is my unhappy face. So maybe it's coming through the radio waves accurately as well. I'm not very pleased. I have been a massive proponent of Mike Boynton getting an additional year, not even halfway into this previous season. I'm a big fan. Primarily because of him getting robbed by the NCAA a couple different times, right? It's not a one-off, unfortunately. So he gets a little bit of a pass here, in my opinion. And then the recruiting, it's like, okay, we're cooking in hot oil, especially when you take into consideration that we're probably going to get Moussa Cisse back. Then we're very likely to get maybe Avery Anderson back because of the injury that he dealt with. And it's also likely that we get Tyreek Smith back. Heck, it's also possible we get Kalib Boone back. Now, was it likely we were going to be able to keep all of them? No, absolutely not. I completely understand. But we were supposed to, at least in my view, going to be able to keep most of them. Like, Woody Newton leaving wasn't going to be that big of a deal because you had the building blocks still, right? You had the bigs still. If you have Moussa Cisse, Bryce Thompson, I feel like everything else we can build around and we'd have been fine. And then we would have maybe put ourselves in a position to capitalize, which is what we talk about all the time, is capitalization, right? And to do that, we would have, in my opinion, been able to grab up David Castillo. Yes, the ESPN 5-star, number 3 point guard in America from Bartlesville, Oklahoma, to come to Stillwater. It's only logical, it's only fitting, it's only right. And I know KU and O State, were the leading candidates for a long time. So screw you, Joe Boo, and Jerome Tang, you can go too. This is ridiculous. I like K-State. I really do. I love K-State. K-State and Texas Tech have always been the other two Big 12 teams that I found myself rooting for. When I was a kid, I found myself rooting for Colorado. And now that Colorado's probably coming back to the Big 12, that'll be kind of cool to circle the wagons from a nostalgia standpoint. But this just, it feels like we're going the wrong way. And like my buddy Sean Bennett just kind of pointed out, it is slightly depressing to see a lot of Big 12 schools are making major waves in the transfer market, which is usually a department that we know we don't have to worry about with Mike Boynton. He's always able to bring the pieces in that we think we need to fit. But let's check this list off. Is Moussa Cisse coming back? No, probably not. And he's willing to go sit out a whole year again. He's willing to roll that dice. Because why? Kalib Boone, same exact situation. He's going to go somewhere else for what? Avery, I thought Avery and Kalib were going to be hand in hand. If one went, they both went. If one stayed, they both stayed. They gone. And then again, Woody Newton wasn't, an integral piece in what we had moving forward, in my opinion, anyways. And I think Justin McBride, one of the new guys coming in, is going to be able to fill that role. But here we are, instead of having a really, really good foundation, getting robbed a couple years in a row, and having the right trajectory to it all becoming super sketchy, super quick. I don't know who's sitting all happy out there right now in Cowboy basketball country, but it's becoming kind of difficult to stand high on that Mike Boynton mountain. We are, again, instead of a retribution mode, are we in rebuild? Not only are we in rebuild, but we're in rebuild. Now we have to rely on all these freshmen. Yes, they're insanely talented, i.e. the rankings, i.e. the film. But the beauty of having Brandon Garrison not have to be pushed into a role because of having a Moussa Cisse, because of having a Kalib Boone, or even a Tyreek Smith, it was going to be what was best for everybody, most likely. But no, that's not going to be an option anymore. Now we got to push. Now we got to rush. All of these freshmen coming in are now going to be relied upon instantly. And I don't know if that means we instantaneously have success. And we can't afford to go backwards. Oklahoma State has risen to crazy heights. That's very, very true in every sport almost. I mean, wrestling, we got to figure that out. We're going the wrong way. I don't think that Alan Bratton's super, super, super safe, right? He's had a lot of success at Oklahoma State, both coaching women's and men's golf. I get it. But in those two sports, you expect to be in competition for national titles. And we're not. But baseball looks good for the most part. Softball looks really good for the most part. Football actually looks way better than I thought it would at this point in time last year, with everything that was going on inside the locker room, coming into the bowl prep, after the bowl game, all of that stuff, the way we ended the season. And then Gundy backing himself into a corner and saying, I ain't firing now, not a nobody. It makes this season a little sketchy. And now spring has given me way more hope than last spring. Yeah, I'm very punch drunk on this schedule. There's reasons for that. But I'm even more punch drunk on seeing what's happening and seeing the developments and the fact that we have depth at positions that we did not have depth at last year. And this new scheme seems to be absolutely perfect. And you're not seeing a one-sided affair here. It's not that the offense is always dominating the defense or vice versa. It's evenly spread out, right? Defense has massive moments. Offense have massive moments. I've already got my picks for MVP of the spring thus far. I think I've got that kind of narrowed down. So we're going to cover all that as well. But all the indications seem to be pretty good right now inside Boone Pickens Stadium locker room. The same cannot be said for Gallagher-Iba Arena. Those locker rooms, other than women's basketball, aren't swimming in awesome sauce at the moment. And maybe I'm asking for a little bit of pick me up here. What am I missing on basketball? Am I missing something? Because we don't seem to be trending in the right direction. I love Mike Boynton. I'm a Mike Boynton believer. This isolation crap, I wish he would kind of get over that. Our half-court sets have gotten a little bit better, but not enough. We didn't utilize the big men properly, right? So offensively, we can't put a lot of stock in them being gone, especially if we're going to be adopting, all the shooting that we appear to be potentially bringing in. But now we're back to small ball, which is great in baseball. It's a great asset to have in baseball. In my opinion, it's not the best recipe for success when it's in basketball and you have to, right? When you can play small ball in baseball, but you also have the power capabilities that gives you a shot at Omaha. Basketball, to me, is a little bit different. You can get hot at the right time with crazy good shooting. We've seen it. But you also see a lot of times when those teams get matched up with somebody who can bang down low and control the game, just like you kind of can in football, makes it a difficult proposition. So am I just being too pessimistic? I mean, I'm still pretty high on the prospects for the coming season. It is nerve-wracking where we sit currently in the transfer market. Yeah, right? We're definitely net loss at the moment. But is a staff shakeup going to fix things? Is all this talent going to be able to immediately do what we need to do? Maybe. Unfortunately, it appears as Mike Boynton needs a Cade Cunningham type of guy in order to make his quote-unquote offense operate properly. Because let's face it, guys, it's not the best offense ever. It's just not. It's so isolation, one-on-one predicated that, I don't know, we're playing with a crutch. I could be wrong. I've been wrong once before back in 97. I mean, I get it. But you know what I'm not wrong about is, you guessed it, FanDuel. FanDuel is the number one sportsbook betting app for a multitude of reasons, guys. And you know, right now we're doing the no sweat first bet for the new customers. So you can get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. And with baseball action here, get into the major league stuff and see how you can potentially maximize your potential earnings. Again, go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 back when you join FanDuel today. Join FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of Major League Baseball. We've already covered baseball, so that's good. But basketball, it really has me concerned. Please tell me I'm wrong, because, you know, I'd love to be, but it doesn't look good at the very moment. We're putting a lot of stock now on Bryce Thompson, which you knew that was going to be the case moving into this season, but now even more so. And it really is crazy to me that we know he's a gym rat. The guy puts up more shots than most anybody else, and this is all statistically tracked. How a dude can shoot darn near 40% from the three-point line and then go shoot darn near 50% from the free throw line. I know it's significantly different. But usually a shooter's a shooter. It is very rare in the game of basketball whatsoever that a guy is that good at shooting and struggle that mightily from the charity stripe. And I wasn't extremely worried about not having a quote-unquote true point guard either, because of the prospect of Avery coming back. But even without Avery coming back, okay, I'm fine with John McElwright and even Bryce Thompson to some degree running the point when we have shooters available, which again, it appears as though we're going to have that, but without having the building blocks, without having the foundation, without having legitimate big men to help Brandon Garrison evolve. How can we get to the level of winning at least one game in the tournament? I think that needs to be the barometer for success next season. No more excuses. Year 7, you've been bailed out because of the NCAA misfortune. You've been bailed out because of the recruiting class. But now it's time to shine. And we're losing a lot of these pieces. And how could Moussa Cisse be willing to lose a year? Like, it's a head scratcher. I was really banking on all of this trajectory putting us into camp to land David Castillo. Because that's what we're missing, right? The true point guard that can do everything, the isolation type of dude that you can run those type of sets off of. When all you need to do is bring your big man out to set a screen at the top of the key, to have somebody that can drive, that has good vision, that can dish it out to open dudes who can hit open shots. But we're in rebuild, are we not? We're not reloading anything. It's rebuild again in year 7. And just like football and everything else, I mean, football obviously is on a different scale. I get that. But in any sport in the new Big 12, you cannot afford to go backwards. Oklahoma State University specifically, we should be the top dog of the new Big 12. When you look at football, that drives the bus financially for everybody. The more success you have in football, the more success you can traditionally have in every sport. And if you're not successful and you start going backwards, how long do you think it takes you to recover if you're in Oklahoma State? We're not a tier 1 level. I would say that we're definitely a tier 2 level at the top half of that in every sport. So when do we capitalize? And what do we think needs to be done for basketball to take that next step, or just be 100%? Do some of you feel like this dog and pony show should maybe already be considered coming to an end? I still want to see how we develop. I still want to see what we do with the staff. I still want to see if we can, come together and develop a post game without having the bigs that we've had the luxury of watching for the last few years. Only time will tell. There are still some transfers that we can get, but all the really big name guys that had us in their top 3, top 5 have chosen not to come to Stillwater. And all this big time, massive recruiting prowess that Mike Boynton has, the question is it slipping a little bit? Is the slipper not fitting exactly right for Mike Boynton and Galagraba? Are we, figuratively speaking, pissing in the wind here? All right, y'all let me know down in the comments. And who are some potential options to replace? All right. That's all we got for this one. As always, I love you all. God bless. Go Pokes. And until the next one, thank you for tuning in to Locked On Oklahoma State, making it your first listen. All right, y'all. Later.